Okay, folks, she's full of mischief at the moment, so I don't think she'll stay up here for very long. Now, this is video number 3. There we go. This is video number 3, and I want to talk about why we came home early from France. We were due to stay there for 3 months, but I brought her home after about a month, 5 weeks, because she was having a bit of a breakdown, a nervous breakdown. Now, if you've seen any of my videos, you know that she's a very calm dog and very laid back, considering she's only young. She was only a year, just over a year old when we took her to France. She's only 14 months now. And she was brilliant travelling. She was great with the muzzle. She was great on the ferry. Absolutely no problem, because nothing really phases her normally. But once we got to France, we knew that there was going to be a problem, and we had mentally prepared ourselves for it, but I didn't realise how much it was going to affect her. And all of the years that I've been working with dogs, 50 odd years, I've been working, living with dogs, owning packs of dogs, training dogs, rescuing dogs. I've never seen a reaction like her, like she had in France. Now, we had to do some work on the building because it had been empty through COVID and it needed some urgent repairs doing to it. So we were kind of tied up trying to sort the house out. But if you imagine, let me try and explain, is that outside the front door, there's a little strip of shingle and then a country road, more like a lane really. And the tractors go up and down, and maybe 5 cars a day. And on the other side of this little road, there's all the vineyards. So you're looking straight out into the vineyards. To get to the garden, you have to go out and along this little path, and the garden is at this end of the house. And it's massive, it's ginormous, it's like a field, but it's not fenced, so it's not secure. And because there's no front garden fenced, we had to keep her on a lead or a long line the whole time she was in France. And ever since we've had her at 9 weeks old, she's been loose and playing. We're surrounded by farmers' fields here, hundreds of acres, and all the farmers are our friends, so we can use all of the fields. We're 10 minutes drive away from different beaches. So she's been loose and playing on the beaches. If you look at some of my earlier videos when we first got her, you'll see her on the beaches, loose, as a puppy, running around, and we're playing the whistle game and recall and everything like that. And she's always had her freedom. Well, to be restrained like this on a lead, and it was going to be for 3 months, was driving her bonkers. And it was really affecting her mentally. And she was getting very angry, from going from a really calm, well-balanced, gentle, sweet dog, she was becoming a very different dog, and she was getting very angry and ragging this lead, and, you know, really saying, "Get this thing off me." Because not only wasn't she eating and she wasn't going to the toilet, but she would only go to the toilet in certain places. She has to have her little spots where she goes. And of course, she couldn't find her little spots on the lead. Takes her about 10 minutes to figure out where she's going to go, you know. But she was whizzing around me with the long line and hog tying my legs. I could see that there was going to be a big accident, because she would hog tie me with them and then run off at full speed. And of course, she's not a small dog, so she was going to have me over. And I was really worried about it. And it just got worse and worse and worse, and she got more and more manic, really. So we decided in the end there was no option but to bring her home. Because the other thing that we had to consider is that there are wild boar in France. Now, we knew that. I think that you know, I've read that there's about 2,000 wild boar in France. But the public footpath where we walked her, which was near our house, was beside a wood and beside some maize fields. And the woods, you could hear the wild boar in there. And I said to one of the neighbours, that is wild boar in there. And he said, oh yeah. And I said, are we in danger? And he went, oh, they'll kill you. And especially if they've got young and you get anywhere between the mum and dad or dad and the young. So if you happen to walk along and the young come out here, the baby boars, and mummy and daddy are up here, you know, I could visualise me trying to climb a tree with her on my back. So of course then we couldn't walk her along that area, and because she's in adolescence, I couldn't trust that she was going to always come back, because although she was absolutely brilliant at recall when she was younger, in adolescence they go, yeah, whatever, talk to the poor. And of course I couldn't risk losing her in France. Imagine that. Oh God, I can't even think of that. But also there's adders. And in the garden there was adders. And of course the wild boar could have come into the garden because it was huge and not fenced. So the wild boar could have come into the garden quite easily. And an adder attacked us. It didn't bite her, but it came flying out at us. We jumped. Oh, she was on a lead, of course, in the garden, and we jumped and we ran. Oh, my heart was pounding because I didn't see it until it was on top of us. And my husband was cutting the grass on the ride-on, and he's sure that he saw at least 5 adders whipping into the long grass. So you can imagine the fear. My stress levels were through the roof, you know. What was going to happen to our poor little girl? And especially as we don't speak French, we have tried to learn, but we just can't retain it at our age. It's just not staying in. And nobody in the area where we stay speak English. Virtually nobody. It's only the man in the shop. He speaks broken English. He understands, but he's the only one, really. All of our immediate neighbours are all French. So anyway, that was the major problem. Then, of course, the other problem is le chasse, which is the hunt. Now, all of the land around us is either vineyards or sunflowers or maize or whatever, but then there's protected areas, like areas of natural beauty, if you like, and they have the hunt on those, and they have to cull wild boar and deer and things like that, keep them under control. And it's a very organised thing, but it's not hunt on horseback, it's men with guns. And you can easily get shot, and people have been killed. And you don't take my word for it, just Google it. And people have got killed, and even the huntsmen people themselves have been shot and killed. So wherever you go, if you'll see a little notice and it's red and it's on trees and lampposts and things, and it says le chasse, that means that that area is where they hunt. And you would be well advised to put on a yellow or orange high-vis jacket or cap, and maybe one on the dog as well, so that you can be seen. And especially if it's dusk, you know, have a torch with you so that you can be seen. So, and then the other problem was ticks. She was getting loads of ticks, and every night 2 or 3 ticks, and she was getting quite stressed with us holding her down, trying to get the tick tool underneath it, and they were quite big, trying to get it and turn it and get them out of her. And of course you've got to worry about Lyme's disease with ticks. you know, there's deer coming into the garden and everything else. So all in all, it was very stressful, and the effect it was having on her mentally was just, I said to my husband, this is going to destroy our beautiful dog. And we felt that we had no choice but to bring her home early, get her back to Devon, back to freedom. And if you look at some of the videos that I've posted up with her running around and in the garden, and you'll see she's like 100 miles an hour. When I arrived here, I opened up the door and she ran through, and then I opened up her door out to her patio area. She just ran straight up there and did a big poo. She'd been holding it for days. She don't like going out. She likes it in her garden. She don't go on the beach or anywhere. She won't go in the fields. Hardly at all. I think she's now 14 months old, and I think I could count on three fingers how many times she's done a poo away from the house. She just doesn't do it unless she's really desperate. So you can imagine the problems in France. So anyway, that's the end of this video, and I'll speak to you again soon. Subscribe and click that bell for me, will you? And spread this video around. It might help somebody, you know, so that they're aware of what to prepare for themselves. Over there, they haven't got the dog fields that we've got here, where you can rent it. Not in the area we were, where you can rent it and it's a private dog field. We've got 3 or 4 of them around here, and we book them. We take her there, and because she's in season at the moment, so we take her there and she can run her little heart out and play with her sister. It's only £8 an hour, and I tell you, she just loves it. But there was nothing like that there. So there was nowhere we could leave her loose. The beaches, none of the beaches local to us in France, dogs weren't allowed on them. So there was just nowhere I could let her loose. I could trust. There was a very, very nice neighbour who then, once he heard about our plight, let us exercise her in his garden. But you know, you can't just keep going up to somebody's garden saying, can I walk my dog in your garden? You know, he was very sweet, and he did save my sanity a bit. But anyway, we decided to bring her home. And she lost a huge amount of weight when I brought her home. Worried about where he was, where my husband was. She wasn't happy that the family weren't all together, and she just got so thin. But she's put all her weight back on now. I'm going to take her to the vets today, later on today, and get her weighed. And I think that she's probably back up to her pre-France weight. She's had a season now as well, and she's molted, so all of her new coat is coming through. So she's starting to look stunning, lovely and shiny again. Bath there yesterday. She loves the bath. She's great in the bath. So anyway, that's enough of me rambling on, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye.